Josh Michaelis keeps hitting these home runs, folks. I'm telling you, he is going after the biggest stories and the best interviews in the competition coonhound world. And this week is no different. On The Truth on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network. This episode is called Strike Points, and he sits down with Wes Hamilton and Brett Meyers, and they talk about what it takes to win over $200,000 with a single hound. Halftime Ruby is the all-time money winner. You're going to get the complete story. You're going to hear from Wes and Brett and Josh as they have a great conversation about the truth about making a great coonhound and a winning coonhound. Guys, I'm going to shut up. The box is blowing up. We got a box shaking strike back here. We got to get the doors open on this old South Dog box. It's time to dump the box.
Okay. Just right when I tell Wes not to bang things on the table because it makes noise in the mic, he bangs something on the table and makes noise in the mic. There we go.
Japers.
All right, we are a little loud. Let me tone that down a little bit. There we go.
We're here.
Yeah, and we are live from the famous Woodshed. And this is the truth portion of the Houndsman XP Podcast. And I am lucky enough to be joined by Mr. Wes Hamilton and Mr. Brett Meyers. How are you guys today?
Very good, very good.
Very good.
Good. You guys have seen Wes. He was able to bring Ruby down on the YouTube channel. If you haven't checked that out, just go to Big Show Productions on YouTube and you'll see one of the dogs we're getting ready to talk about, I'm sure. But these guys are the co-owners of Ruby, the winningest dog of all time in PKC for now. It's getting close.
It's getting up there.
Yeah, it's getting real close. Weed's making a pretty big push with Z here. But we're at the Woodshed. We're at this $2,500 Pro Classic, so I got these guys cornered and got them to sit down, and we're going to talk about a few things. But first, how we usually start these out is we talk to these handlers, and we wonder how they got their start hunting. And what most people don't realize is that all these guys that you read about in the books and stuff, they usually started just like everyone else. I mean, they were out there with their grandparents or their parents, and they were out there with sorry dogs and old vehicles and stuff. I'm assuming you guys were the same way, Wes?
Absolutely, absolutely. I started coon hunting with my stepdad and my mom. My mom coon hunted actually with us every night. As long as I remember, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, coon hunting. We did it all for the hides, you know. I had pretty good dogs, but we killed every coon we seen.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't, but I was ate up with it. I remember being 3rd, 4th grade skinning coons the next day, which, a lot of people don't realize that's not as easy as the night of.
No.
But being out there, having them on the clothesline, hanging all my weight I could off of them, and I just loved it. I loved it from minute one. It's funny still talking to my mom about coon hunting, and stuff like that. How everybody used to holler at them dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, she could holler forever.
Well, she was probably used to hollering at you boys.
Yeah, that's
between
probably
you and your brothers.
That's true too. But and then you leave old coats out and find dogs the next day, and just how things have changed is just insanity. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy how it's changed, but
that's pretty, because it ain't very many of us that got started with our mother.
Oh, my mom was crazy about it too. We just coon hunted as a family. School nights, we coon hunted when it came hide season. We coon hunted every night, you know. And
well, back when hides are high, that's a big check. If you're killing a lot of coons, skinning a lot of coons, that's a big check. Christmas presents, whatever. Did all your brothers and all them start pretty much the same way?
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody, there's 5 of us. Have 5 brothers. At one time, we all coon hunted.
Yeah.
3 of us still all have dogs. My brother Jared, he has the sire to Ruby, the mule dog, and my brother Glenn, he competition hunts some, and that's how it all kind of got started. We just all got into it.
You guys all started right there in Missouri?
Yeah,
right there
right northwest Missouri,
yep.
Southwest Iowa, right there. Yep, that's where we all started, got right into it, and I remember a lot of long nights, man, out there chasing dogs.
What about you, Brett? Where'd you get your start and how?
Basically, when I was about 14, and there's a bunch of kids in high school that were coon hunting, and I just tagged along with those, and it wasn't long, and I had to buy a dog, and I had there was a black and tan I bought for $50.
A black and tan. Brett Meyers started with an old black and tan.
An old black and tan, and his name was Ruger, and we he went back to some of Tam Young's breeding,
Yeah.
and long story short, he had a gimpy leg when I bought him, and that's the reason the guy never sold the dog. He was the last one. He was about 4 or 5 months old, whatever he was there,
Yeah.
and I ended up just kept hunting the dog, and he was about 14 months old. He finally started treeing, and long story short, we made him a grand night, and I sold him to Tam Young for $5,000 when I was 18 years old.
No.
So
That was a lot of money then,
yeah,
too.
it was a ton of money for an
money.
18-year-old kid. So
Did you buy another dog with that money?
no, not at the time. I
Yeah.
didn't. I pretty well. Tam had given me a pup out of him, and I had that pup, and actually got her in the Super Stakes. I was basically my first PKC hunt. I was 19 years old and went down to the PKC Super Stakes, which back then was just the juniors
Yep.
and senior Super
Yep.
Stakes.
Yep.
So I went down to the junior Super Stakes, and I drew David Dial, Justin Caldwell, and Ronnie Smith in the late round.
No kidding.
Now you talk about the who's of who's, and
Yeah.
and a 19-year-old
Yeah.
kid learned in a hurry what it was about. But long story short, my dog went out and treed 2 coons in the late round, treed both coons in the late round, and won. So I advanced, and then I made a bad call leading the cast. No way I could lose. And I treed my dog for no reason and took a minus and cost me the cast. And I had Ronnie Nickens in that cast and James Love, and Love ended up winning that cast.
What valuable lesson did you learn from that cast, Brett?
So nobody could beat me. I had 150 on a coon, and my dog went down there and got treed, and I knew she wasn't right. And the judge started the stationary on me, and I jumped up and treed my dog just for no reason, really.
Just because of the pressure of the
The
stationary.
pressure of the situation. I didn't want to let her tree any longer than I had to, and I treated her, and she got down and moved on, and I drew that minus, and I got beat. I mean, that was just all there was to it.
I'll say Brett Meyers isn't the kind of guy that you think would make, young Brett Meyers maybe, but now you draw Brett and there's no mistakes. You don't make very many mistakes in a cast anymore. So.
We made several of them, and I could go on for days telling you about the mistakes I've made in big hunts at a young age that you learn in a hurry.
Yeah.
You either quit or you learn in a hurry. So,
Yeah.
And then from there, Tam actually ended up buying that female back from me after that too, and Ricky Hawkins hunted her some and had some success with her.
What was her name?
Shania.
I think I've heard Ricky talk about that dog.
And Ronnie, I still remember this day. Ronnie Smith, excuse me, was the first time I'd ever met Ronnie, and when I struck her that night on the late round, I struck for 100, and when I struck for 100, Ronnie said, "Shania, is she as good as she is good looking?" And I still can remember that to this day, and whatever. And then obviously she looked good. She treated 2 coons by herself and did a good job. But and then I had sold her back to Tam, and at the same time, and when I'd sold her is when I'd found out about half-breed Jessie is where that all come into play. And so basically I had found Jess, and Tam had already, I think, had bought half of her before the Super Stakes started. The morning of, Tam bought half of her, and then we ended up Tam ended up buying me out when I bought Jess. Then, and then that's how we got started there.
Wes, what did
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Did you hear what Brett Myers said?
What?
He struck for 100.
Yeah,
Can you believe
it?
Can you believe
Shocker.
Can you blame?
In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, Brett's been hunting babbling dogs all his life.
Yeah.
He didn't just start here lately.
That black and tan was striking for 100 back then, too. You know.
Well,
he was born for the 100 strike.
That's right. He can get a 100 strike with a black and tan. He can get a 100 strike with anything.
That's right.
that's what it's all about right there. It's like I was told a long time ago by Denny Kirby, taught me a lot about coon hunting, and he told me, he said 100 points are for strike are the absolute freest points there is.
That's true.
He says a dog doesn't have to do anything but bark to get points, and he said if they're treed, that's a whole different game because they have to stay there and bark. That's different than just barking. So,
We're going to get into that later because I talked to Finley and I've talked to Ward and other guys, and we've talked about that 100 strike and what it does and how it does. And you guys obviously have had a lot of success with it. I obviously have not because all my crap freaking strikes for a quarter every time you turn it loose, and that about beat me in the early round last night.
Yeah, that crap he beat me with last night. Let me tell you about Josh real quick. He wants to beat me, and then he wants me to sit down and talk about it the next day.
And then I didn't bring it up yet. Yeah, I mean, I was going to work my way into it slowly.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just start it right then. But anyway, so Wes, you were hide hunting with your mom and your brothers and everything. When did you start competition hunting?
So I was about 6'8" in 7th grade. So basketball was everything. My my stepdad and my mom split up probably about 5th grade. So I got away from dogs for a little while, and I can kind of go back to listening to Jason talk about got in a lot of trouble, in trouble. But the one thing I always, Jason didn't know what beef cows was. I knew what beef cows was. I got in trouble around beef cows. That's a promise. But just when I got 16, my brother Jared, which he's a preacher, and I'm far from a preacher. You know?
I remember when I first met Jared, and you told me that Jared was a preacher, and I said, he's your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my brother. I said, and he's a preacher. He said, yeah. I said, okay, if you say so.
So I think I was 14 or 15. It was my 15th birthday, I think, or maybe my 16th. I was getting close to getting a driver's license, and he came up with this. You remember the Stylish Digger dog?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody gave him a young dog off Stylish Digger, and he gave it to me. We named it Whiskey. It had ringworm all over it.
Yeah.
That's why they gave it to him. Never could get that ringworm off of him, but it's just one of them deals. First night we turned him loose, he trees a coon. I mean, just like
piece of cake.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So got back into it, and then we was going to go competition hunt, and then there were some guys around. We started doing some UKC competition hunt. It felt like I just went right into winning, and then I was just nuts about it. I'd honestly, I'd steal gas. I'd drive off gas stations to go to a damn coon hunt, UKC coon hunt, to win a plaque. I'd do anything.
So, like Jason was addicted to other things, you were addicted to going to coon hunts.
I got addicted to it bad. I remember my dad, he rented me a little duplex to stay in there and said, school's a couple blocks away, go there to school, and I'll be 6 states away. And yeah, that
didn't end well.
Went to school real often, coon hunted every night, and he'd come back, and I had a bank account, had to write checks on, and he came back that one time. I'd been going to all these coon hunts, and I'd wrote about $2,500 worth of bad checks he had to cover. And he thought I was buying drugs, but I was really just writing checks to go to coon hunts. But I'd been all over the state. I had taken this dang dog, these UKC hunts.
Well, Brett, this is the guy you're partnering with.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've heard a lot of stories after the fact.
I'd been all over, going to these coon hunts. But yeah, but my brother Jared, so he's a straight shooter, so I was running around with this dog that he gave me, and he's hearing all these things about me, and I think he threatened to take that dog away from me numerous times, but thank goodness he never did, because it's hard telling where I would have ended up, without a dog. But had a lot of fun with that dog. He was off that old Stylish Digger dog, but he was a good hound. That's kind of how it got started for me. Is just into that. And
I say you got into the UKC hunts. You weren't getting no gas money back? Or
nothing. But it didn't matter. You were just ate up about it when you were rolling. And I got into the PKC hunts there, too, about the same time, like 2005. I think I became a member, and we were going to some then. And got hooked up with some guys, you know, but the smaller hunts were big hunts then, you know.
Every hunt was a big hunt then. Every cast win was important when you first get started. Yeah.
The biggest change for me when it came to competition hunt was just actually where I lived at and the people I got to associate with. I had moved up there by Russ's cabin and just went pleasure hunting with Wes Meyers a few times, and then got into that hunt. And actually, I was telling this story last night that I remember the first year I was there, I guided. Thought that was like the biggest thing. But here I am, the Wes Meyers Invitational. I mean, that was the cast me out, and I got to guide. I think the next year I judged. Might have guided 2 years or something. But next year judged. The next year I was going to judge too. Well, that was $1,000, man. Judge, dude. Yep. I thought we was rolling. You know,
I was always just impressed. Like if I got invited to come over and eat.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
I was excited. I was like, wow, I got to go over and hang out with those guys.
Well, it was like a $2,500 meal on Friday night. You know, I mean, who the heck even knew that was possible? Have a $2,500 meal at that time. But
for the folks that are listening that don't know, the Wes Meyers Invitational was the original $6,500 Pro Classic. I mean, we have them now. We have 4 of those a year. We have $2,500 Pro Classics everywhere, 16 dogs, huge payouts. But when that started, that was unheard of. I mean, when someone told me they were paying $6,500 for an entry fee for more than every dog I'd ever owned was worth in my life, and they were just paying that for an entry fee, I was blown away, and I thought, well, that'll never work.
Yeah.
I thought that, here we are.
Here we are.
A few years later, they had 10 or 11 years before anybody else ever even thought of having that. Yep. You know what I mean? Nobody else, and it was a lot of fun. But that's where I was getting at is, so it would have been probably my 3rd or 4th year there. I judged, and then I was judging again. It was the 3rd night, and I was hunting dogs for Russ. I got this dog. I was getting tracks ready for him, and we also had Smoky Mountain Ann, and we hadn't hunted. Ann had been in heat or something. We hadn't hunted in like 5 weeks. And Don Dunlap, I don't know if the people know the Dunlaps know that Don's tough as a bull. Okay, he gets kidney stones on the 3rd night. And he's evidently pretty bad because he goes to the hospital. So Russ buys 1 night entry for him, and we're just the way Russ was. He was always surprising you with something, but he just announces me as I'm judging a cast, but he announces me in the cast. I don't even know what's going on hunting Ann.
Yeah.
I go out and get lucky as you could possibly get. I mean, the early round beat like Jeff Rickless and Al Nunneman, and I mean, you couldn't have got no more lucky. Go out on the late round, it's me versus Russ now. So now we're not partners no more. We're enemies, you know, and that's the way Russ was. And we go out in this place, and I strike the first dog barks, and which Ann would bark. She was a barker, but all these dogs pile in this hole. And Northwest Missouri, you're planning on treating a lot of coons, especially up by Russ's. They all pile in this hole, and I got no bale tree on it. Just tree me. I'm just this young, dumb kid, don't know nothing. But tree me. We go in there, got 200. Everybody's wanting to lead out of this hole. I get down on this old bank. I start digging in this hole. About 5 minutes gone. I dig it out enough that there's the coon right there. Get 200. We never tree another coon the rest of the night. Went. That was the first time I won 20,000. You know, you talk about walking up to Russ's going up to Russ's the next day and getting him to cut me that check that next day. Little did he know he was going to have to do that several mornings after that, because he never got a chance to get me out of that hunt after that year. I was in it every year, and I lived for that. But that's what got me into all these hunts like this, is just that hunt, because I seen how it worked, you know. Yeah. I like it where you got to – I like it either you're crying when you go home and you're worried about you better get your booty to work the next week, or you went home with some real money. I like the stakes to be high. You know what I mean? That's what I like, and I like it to a couple 2-3 day hunt is good. And but yeah, that's.
I just like them because they're so drama free.
Yep.
And they're so worry free. I mean, last night we're in the late round with my brother and George Major, and it doesn't get any more drama-free than that.
I guarantee
you know, I mean,
Guarantee
it was just, it's just fun. It's a lot more fun.
It is, for sure. And they, it's just, it's a high-level competition.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have their dog ready. Nobody's coming here with a dog out of shape.
And when you do win, you really beat some good dogs.
Yep.
It ain't like you beat 2 dogs that were decent and one that shouldn't have been there in the first place or nothing. I mean, you're not drawing any junk. I mean, these are all good dogs.
Every dog's beatable.
Yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of these dogs at this level taking turns winning.
Yep.
Because they're all pretty good dogs. But if you can get a dog that really makes a run, you got something.
Well, yeah, because you make a run here where you're cashing $6,500 checks, $6,000 checks in 4 casts in a row, as opposed to $300 checks 4 casts in a row.
Yep, you definitely do got something if you can get something to keep making runs at it.
Brett, you mentioned you got out of the black and tan breed with Clay and Tam. They'd bought you out on everything, and you said something about half-breed Jessie. Tell me about half-breed Jessie and how she's into. Because for those that don't know, Brett, how many 4-wheelers have your dogs won?
I think we're up to number 11 now.
How many pro hunts have they won up there? Around here anywhere?
Pro hunts?
Yeah.
I guess just myself, I've won 1 pro hunt with Ruby. Actually, was how I met with Wes.
And so, because I mean, the UKC 4-wheeler hunts, and then you won some of those, right? How many 4-wheelers did you win at those?
So, AKC, my very first 4-wheeler hunt was AKC, and I won.
Because, I mean, you guys could start a Honda dealership or whatever with all the freaking 4-wheelers you won. It's ridiculous.
Most of them are Polaris. But
whatever.
We'll go with it.
Polaris dealership.
Yeah. So anyway, AKC was the first one that I had won. They were the original one, and actually was Jerry Mull and Steve Fielder when they were just starting the AKC thing. So I won. I know I had the Pete dog. I won back-to-back with Pete, and then I believe Monster was my next one to win one in 2011, and I was actually in the finals. I had 2 dogs in the finals that year, and Pete. I went to handle Pete, and Gomer, Brad Messersmith, was the judge, and he said, "You have your dog?" And I said, "Yes." And they were standing up on a levee, and I had a hold of my dog, and when I had a hold of him, the coon jumped out of the tree, basically before his shine time started, and the coon run off, and I never got it scored. Otherwise, we could have called him 3-Pete, but Monster was setting back treed the other way, and Monster ended up having a coon to win, and so.
How many state championships?
So I won 10 of those.
Yeah. So 10 state championships, a pro hunt, numerous other pro hunt Final Fours, and because it's not like you're in the coon hunting hotbed way up there.
No, it's definitely a long ways.
I mean, it's a long ways from everywhere to get to a coon hunt.
Yeah, a long ways from the heart of things. There's no doubt there.
And so, all these dogs that you're breeding, and we want to talk about some of the breeders too. And of course, you've had a lot of success, but a lot of them. Do all of them go back to Jessie?
All of my dogs?
Yeah.
No, not all of them, but
a lot of them do.
High percentage of them do.
What? Just tell me about how did it start? Where'd you get them? What do you like about those as opposed to everything else, and so on and so forth?
Oh, I don't know. I guess if
just winning 11 4-wheelers is one reason to like them, I guess.
And I mean, obviously, they
100 strike.
100 strike.
Right.
Yeah, that's the key right there. They're just, I don't know. I like an action style dog. I mean, the more bark, the better for me. I always said if I didn't have a dog bark, and I'd have to hunt beside a pond because I want to hear frogs chirp or something going on. I don't want a dog out there where I don't know if they're hunting or doing something. If they're barking to me, they're doing something.
Yeah.
But everybody's got their opinions on that and whatever. But I like a dog that can run a track good and bark good and tree good. I like a good tree dog, and they don't have to have a blow down mouth. I'm not a huge type on the mouth thing, and just a dog that's good enough to hear is good enough for me. But they have to have coons. My biggest things on these dogs is I was kind of the same way with Wes. We hide hunted and we killed coons, and I skipped wrestling practice. I actually quit wrestling because of coon hunting and because it was right during hide season, and I wanted to kill coons, and we did a lot of it. And if the dog wasn't good enough to be a hide dog, it didn't live at my house very long.
And see, that's what I think. A lot of these people think that we're scoring points off circle trees and we're doing this, and these dogs aren't accurate. But everybody wants an accurate dog. You got to have an accurate dog, or you're not going to compete at this level.
I'd like to draw them dogs that don't have coons.
Yeah, I would too.
I seem to always draw them ones that have them coons, so I don't know what the deal is, but I guess bad luck on the draw, I guess. But
so when you're breeding these dogs, and they're all half-breed something, which most of them are, they don't have, I mean, a lot of them have some blue tick and some stuff in them, but, I mean, did you do that on purpose, or did you just not care?
Well, Denny Kirby's the one that actually needs to take the credit for the breeding of Jesse. You know, he had bought a female from a pup from Jim Samples out in Ohio, and it was the world champion Emma female. Yep. It was a double clover bred female, and he'd bred it to the blue tick monster dog that he's got that goes back to the trader dog that come from Tennessee and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so, he did that, and I've, just kind of took over on just breeding Jess and whatever after that. And, I don't really know where to go with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not, it's not common. I mean, most of they're either walkers or they're blue ticks or this stuff. And you guys have kind of made a name with the crossbreed. And, of course, like you said, Dennis has a lot to do with that. But from what I've noticed about them, you can always tell something that's out of Brett's stuff. When you draw it, it's going to bark plenty. It's going to move around good. It's going to have its coon. It's going to be hard to beat. I mean, really, they're hard to freaking beat sometimes.
Well, and typically, yes. These dogs usually do well in coons, and perfect example, just look at last night. The 2 out of the 3 dogs in the finals last night up here was obviously a dog that is out of Trader and whatever, which obviously most people know Trader's got some half-breed Jesse in him, and then obviously the Salt is a younger sister to Ruby, so 2 out of 3 were in the finals out of the dogs that are down here,
but two completely different track styles. I mean, that's it. Because I wonder where, like, you look at your stuff and the Trader stuff, and they're bred very similar. I mean, these are pretty similarly bred dogs. Uh-huh. And the Trader dogs are known for not barking on the ground. I mean, I struck last on however many drops we made on 2 casts last night. I mean, they don't strike good. Salt left. She got struck for 100. She's a pretty good strike dog. I wonder why. I wonder what's in there that makes the Trader dogs so quiet and the Meyers stuff so vocal.
Well, I'll just give you my opinion. I don't know if
that's what we want.
I don't know if it's right or not, but I'll probably make somebody mad. But
that's all right.
To me, the Trader dogs have more nocturnal nailer stuff in them, and a lot of the nailer dogs I've witnessed, and I'm not saying they're all like that, but a lot of the ones I've witnessed are lower strike dogs, more of a get treed style of dog. Yeah. And like Salt is out of Pepper, and Pepper was a female that went back to. She was a female I bought after Tess had died on me, and Pepper was a good strike dog type, and she was out of Mike Gilbert's doctor female or doctor dog and some of that. So just they're close. There's no doubt they're close. They're bred just a little bit different. Just a little bit, and that little bit makes a difference.
Sometimes I wish yours was a little quieter, and sometimes I wish mine was a little noisier.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Maybe it's got to do with the owners. Maybe the more the owners talk, the
less the dogs say. The less the dogs say.
Maybe it's Finley's deal.
Yeah, we'll have to get Finley's coming on next week. He'll be able to give a rebuttal.
Yeah, get that going. Get that going.
That'll get him fired up.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. So you guys got together with Ruby. And most of the guys that are listening to this are going to know who Ruby is. But what's Ruby's earnings up to now?
Oh, they're just getting back at it. I think it's like 222, something like that.
So 222,000 and just in PKC, plus some however many thousands of dollars in non-sanctioned stuff than CHKC.
Yeah.
I think last time we talked, she'd won over $300,000 total.
Yeah, probably somewhere right in there, I would say. Yeah, she's won. You know, we have this woodshed. We have one woodshed hunt down here that's non-sanctioned. We have in the spring.
The invitational, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's done well there. You know, she's won several there. CHKC, we really didn't go to too much of CHKC, but she's, I think just mainly just some, you know, we won the Russ Meyer hunt.
Yeah.
The last year, the Russ Meyer hunt, got in there with it, you know. That felt good because I was hunting for Russ. I'd been hunting for Russ, and I wanted to buy. I hunted with Ruby.
Didn't you try to get Russ to buy?
I tried.
Yeah, and
I
he wouldn't buy her.
I tried.
You think you proved your point now?
Oh, I think so. I think I did, especially when I went there that last gig there, and yeah, definitely. I was after Ruby from the first time I ever seen her go. You know, and she was like 14, 16, in that finals, that pro hunt.
Yeah, probably 20 months old or so.
Yeah, she was pretty
range.
young, and I was after her. And it actually took about a year and a half or so to get her bought, probably.
Yeah, probably was a year and a half or so.
Yeah, to get the deal done. And we went and jumped through all kinds of loops, but it was good, though, because Ruby would have been the first dog that I became a partnership on that started hunting for myself, and I don't think I could ever go back for hunting for the public, you know, or hunting for somebody. It's just a different deal. You got more, and there ain't nothing wrong with it any way you want to do it, but when you're out here, you're laying your own money down, and it can heat you up too. I talked a little bit about that, I think, when we did that video, but man, we went down to Mississippi and we laid 7,500 down, and we got whacked out all 3 nights. And I came back, and that's a long ride home from Mississippi to Nebraska.
Well, people see this and they don't understand. They think we're all rolling up here in Cadillacs, and we're all millionaires, and you guys are just a couple working guys that have a good dog. I mean, that's all there is to it. It ain't like we're rolling in the dough over here.
Hey, I paid $5,000 for half a Ruby, and that didn't see. You know, right now it don't seem like a lot.
Yeah.
But I can promise you, I didn't have 5,001 in my account when I went up there to go get her. You know, I can guarantee you that was all I had. I remember robbing Peter to pay Paul on a job to get this dog. You know what I mean? Went and collected a check, cashed a check, went and got the dog. That's exactly what happened, and got her in. But luckily, it was just, a lot of people don't realize there's very few of this. There's not a lot of profit in this dog. You're talking about, there's been very few dogs, but Ruby's one that, you know, so far, knock on wood here, that she's actually made money coon hunting. Yeah. You know, especially with pups and everything else. I mean, this dog has, you could go on forever. I mean, Zach McBee always says when he comes up to her, he always tries to pull her tail and see if $100 fall out. You know, he just believes that's the way it works with her. You know. Well,
and we're lucky enough because that wouldn't have been able to be done 20 years ago.
No,
you couldn't get a dog, you couldn't pay a bunch of money, and you couldn't go on the road, and you couldn't make a living at it, or you couldn't even make a profit at it. You're going to lose money, and we're lucky to have these hunts and the economy in the coon hunting world the way it is, to where we can actually do this. And even if you break even, you know, I figure me and Jed with Rain at these Pro Classics break even, and we're doing pretty well just to do that. I mean, I make money because I get half and I don't have any expenses.
Yeah.
But I figure Jed's probably about breaking even, you know, paying on all these entries and stuff. And just to be able to break even we're lucky.
You better keep winning.
Yeah, I know. I don't keep winning. He's gonna yank that bank account out from underneath me.
Yeah.
But so I mean, how much has changed since? Like Brett, you've been in it for a long time too, and you're way up north, and so you're kind of got to travel and stuff too, so that eats up some money too. But how's it changed since you guys first started doing this?
Oh, there's no doubt. It's an expensive, expensive hobby. There's no doubt. It's just, I guess my biggest thing is the dog has to cover its entry fee. Yeah. To me, a dog's not worth hauling if they can't cover their entry fee. So I don't expect someone to pay for the full ride, you know, as far as the gas, the motels, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But that dog has to cover those entry fees for me to haul it, I guess, is my big thing on it. But, I mean, I guess I'm kind of the same a little different. You know, obviously I don't work for anybody handling dogs or doing anything like that, and I don't want to. I've never felt the need that I want to do that. I enjoy going to a coon hunt. I always felt that was a job. I don't want a job like that. So that's just, you know, every hobby costs money. No matter if you're going boating or snowmobiling or whatever it is, most of those deals are expensive, and you just hope a dog can kind of float its own way.
And anymore they can. You know, you get a good one. You get
They
a good one. They can. Yeah.
They got to be good.
What you had all the success with Ruby. You guys were partnered how long ago on Ruby?
I think it'll be 6 years coming this January.
Years,
It doesn't seem that long. It doesn't seem like Ruby should be that old.
Yeah, she just turned 9.
Yeah.
The 30th.
This week, Thursday here.
Yeah.
So you guys partnered on her 6 years ago, and if I remember correctly, immediately went to making money with her. Because wasn't it right before the Russ Meyer hunt that you got her bought?
Yeah, it was. Did we go to the Super Stakes
Super
first?
Stakes is the first hunt.
That's right.
The first hunt you took.
I took her to a CHKC hunt down in Oklahoma. The first one I went to, and it snowed down there, and I got in the semifinals of that, and then we went out there and we got in the final 3 of the Super Stakes, ended up getting 3rd, and then went to the Russ Meyer hunt.
Tell that semifinal. That was on the video, but I want everybody that's listening to the podcast to listen to this too. Tell me about the semifinals of Super Stakes with Ruby.
We drew a boy from Oklahoma, and he's probably still mad about it. But if I wouldn't
This is a head-to-head cast.
Head-to-head cast. I actually drew a head-to-head cast. It was a weird deal. There was 2 3-dog casts and a head-to-head cast, and it had actually been the quarterfinals because then I had to hunt another round late.
Yeah.
It was one of them deals that you wasn't right in the semi. It was actually a quarterfinals, what it was. But we go out and we turn out by this lake, and I've got all of a sudden I've got like 400. I'm 400 down, 450 points down, and this boy is guiding us. He's cut us in the wrong spot. He's literally cut us on a lake where they can't go nowhere. But this other boy's dog trees a coon there, and we got 1 hour left, and Cody Stallard actually is judging, and we cut these dogs loose, and this other guy, I mean, all he's got to do is play safety, you know. And that last hour, she trees 5 coons, five coons. It scores 1,000 plus, and I mean, this guy, I could just tell first coon I don't think he trees on, or whatever. And the second one, maybe he takes a quarter. I don't remember how it all played out, but I just know it was 5 coons, and every time his dog would be there, whatever, and cut loose like 7 minutes left. And then if his covers, I believe he can still win.
Yeah.
The one time his don't cover, I believe they get split, and then I got another coon. And it was 5 coons for 1,000 plus.
I would still be mad if I was him too.
Yeah, I would. He probably is.
That right there will make you puke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a very awkward situation. It was just, that's what she can do.
Yeah.
She's the best dog I've ever seen. Said it before, treeing coons off coons. There's not a better dog I've ever seen. That's what the first thing I seen in her when she was young. Treeing coons off of coons. That is what it's all about. If you can scorch a coon out of the truck and you get her flicked loose, if there's another one a tree, another one a tree, another one a tree, or if she's treeing coons, you can't beat her.
No, and she's one of, when Ruby wants to go tree coons and you put her in a position where she can, that's probably the hardest dog to beat on the planet that I've seen.
Yeah,
I mean, when she's on her game and she's at her best, I don't think there's anything you can do with her. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
But the hard part is to keep one on its game. And you guys have been pretty good about where you take Ruby and how you put her in a position to succeed. And so, I mean, you guys don't go to every hunt.
No, try not to.
Yeah, I mean,
try not to.
So how do you do that? I mean, how do you decide where to take Ruby, and how do you decide where she's going to do well?
I think we're still learning at it, honestly.
Well, you better hurry up. She's 9.
Yeah, I know.
She's got 4 or 5 more years, don't she?
I hope so.
Hoping so.
That's what I'm thinking.
Gosh, try to put her where there's coons at. You know what I mean? I don't think she'll tree a coon anywhere. She's a smart dog. She can figure it out. But I think her best odds are if you go where you're going to tree coons, and that's what I like to do. I'm not for going to a coon hunt where you don't treat coons. You know what I mean? But putting her somewhere where you're going to treat coons. That's what she does well, is treat coons. So I think a lot of it, and I think, the Pro Classic style has worked well for her. You know what I mean? She's a female. Not all females, but a lot of females don't hold up like male dogs.
No.
You know what I mean?
Physically, mentally, they hold up better, I think. But physically, it doesn't seem like they do, especially if they've had litters of pups.
Yeah,
and it ain't like you spayed this dog and go win money with her either.
No.
How many litters she had now?
And this credit needs to go to Brett, but she's had 3 litters. We bred her to Big D, and she had 8 pups. They all lived.
Yeah.
We bred her to Big Country. She had 12 pups. They all lived. And then we just bred her to Zach McBee's Wipeout Hunter dog. Has 12 pups. They all live.
Yeah.
Every one of them was sold at that place. And that credit goes to Brett. He's the pup master wizard. But she does her part too. I mean, she's good. But just for that to happen there, it's hard telling the money she's made just in selling pups.
Yeah.
I mean, she's definitely broke some records as far as that. She's made more money selling pups than a lot of stud dogs ever dreamed of.
Her pups are winning too.
Yeah,
I see Ruby D. Was she in at the Pro Sport hunt last night?
Yeah, she's in now.
Yeah, she's in
top
its Pro
16
Sport
tonight.
hunt. The star female that you got, she won quite a bit last year down here at the Woodshed.
Yeah,
This spring.
this spring.
Oh, yeah,
whatever
the
it was,
spring. Yeah, that's right. I was down here with duds. I remember that. That's how sorry my spring was. I was still hunting duds at this stupid thing last year. I mean, she's reproduced pretty well.
Yeah, both litters that are old enough to hunt have both had dogs out of them, and that are showing promise,
The country boy dog of Tim Scott's was just
Yeah.
in the top 100 of the world and the Super Stakes both.
And Ruby D was in top 100 too.
Yeah. And then what about, there was one of the big country male bups that Lane Denny had. I guess that was a good dog. Where'd he end up?
He's at our house. You want to
Oh,
buy him?
is he? No, I do not.
Okay, he's your
Well, I don't know.
style.
How much is he?
He'll strike for 100.
Well, I don't know. We can't have one that'll strike for 100.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So Ruby's done her part. She's done her part in the woods. She's done her part in the stud pen. What do you guys got coming up behind her? I mean, she is 9 years old. What do you guys got coming up, and waiting in the wings?
It's looking like a sore subject last night.
Well, I didn't hunt a pup out of her last night, but so we got the star female, obviously.
Yeah.
And then we've got 3 of them hunter pups at my house. So one way or another, I'm going to try to make something.
How old are they now?
They were born June 13th, so whatever, 3.5 months old or so.
They ain't.
So they're little guys yet, but we'll see how if we can make one of them bark for 100 or not.
What do you look for in your pups? If say there's 3 of them pups out there and they're all pretty similar, but there's one trait that you like better than the rest.
Yeah, one that strikes. But no, I don't know. I've obviously I've trained a few of these pups and whatever over the years, and to me, if you just all you got to do is take them to the woods, and most of them figure it out. But it's consistently going to the woods weekly. You can't. I've never seen anybody have success with a dog that they take a puppy that they take to the woods once every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You have to take them weekly to the woods. Some of them figure it out, some of them don't. Most of them figure it out to the point they'll tree a coon. Now, I'm not saying they're all winners or anything like that, but
that's another thing people don't understand is that turning a dog loose and it striking a coon track and treeing a raccoon is not that big a deal.
no.
We get rid of those all the time. I mean, that's not a hard deal. I mean, these dogs all tree coons by themselves and stuff, but you're looking for something extra.
Yep.
And so is there any one trait that is an absolute no-go? Like you see that dog and over there, other than it don't bark on the ground?
I guess my biggest thing is, which most of these dogs that I have, have the go hunting thing.
Yeah.
I don't like a lazy dog.
No.
They absolutely can't be lazy for me. They get to lay around all day and I got to go to work, so they better go do something.
Yeah. And you can tell when they're lazy early.
The winner just walked in.
Oh, yeah.
Your big brother.
Yeah, big brother.
I think his chest is a lot
bigger. Big brother
bigger.
just came strutting in.
Yeah, he did.
$6,000 richer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He said, "Take me out again, little brother.
Yeah.
Take me out again."
Hey, big brother, we splitting tonight if we get in? Oh, he says no. He says no. I'm pro split tonight.
Too easy. That's too easy.
All right, the crowd's showing up. We're going to get to sit down with you guys again some more. We're going to shut this off and maybe grab some meat. I guess grab something to eat. I smell that food cooking over there. But appreciate you guys joining us. Good luck tonight at the Woodshed. Good luck in the future with Ruby and your young dogs. And we'll get back after it later and maybe get together this season, do some hunting or something like that. So
Sounds good. Thanks for having us, Josh.
all right.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate
fellas.
you.
And that is Brett Meyers and Wes Hamilton, and this is The Truth.